Hello and welcome everyone back to my channel, which I have no real name to. Well, for now, I guess I'll just stay as The Fool. Once I unlock my imagination ability, whenever that will be of course, I'll think about a more creative name. Anyway, yeah, Lord of the Mysteries web novel review. Thing is with Lord of the Mysteries is that, well, the first thing that actually came into mind when thinking about it, was, hey, this novel really gave some spirit to the mystery genre that seemed to have become quite dull for some time now. And well, pretty much it really showed us that there are endless possibilities as long as the author is talented enough. Now, first of all, for anyone who might read this novel after this review of course, which is somewhat impossible seeing how I just created my channel. Anyway, take this warning from me to you. This novel depends heavily on your understanding to the story one by one. I mean, well, if you miss a part of the explanation or don't understand some crucial parts in the world building, you may reach some events that might not really seem logical to you. But in fact, it is logical. You were just distracted while reading a novel whose factors depend deeply on the cumulative understanding of the reader in each chapter. Before anything, I want to really mention a question that was posed to me before. While I did find my answer, I would really like to listen to everyone's different opinions on the whole matter. That question is, what type of world can you really deem as a really well written and built world? Well, my answer to this is a world in which the main character is just a factor of many factors, and just because he died, that wouldn't really affect the quality of the novel. And that is what the author of Lord of the Mysteries really made us witness while reading his story. And now let us all enjoy this review, shall we? First, let me give you a little summary to the story. The summary of most of the websites aren't good, so I will just sum up the first chapter to give the lot of you a feeling to the story. The story is about a person who came from Earth and found himself awake in the middle of the night, and coincidentally he found himself in the body of a stranger named Klein Moretti. As Klein tries to comprehend what happened, he begins to remember some things from the memories of the previous owner of the current body he's residing in. And he gathers some knowledge using those fragmented memories. And he gets to know that he is now in a world that still uses steam engines and steam-powered weapons. After a while, Klein finds a diary belonging to the previous owner of the body he was currently residing in, and there he finds some abstract words written with black ink in a large and bizarre manner. Everyone will die, including me. Those words made Klein feel somewhat frightened, and from there on the story of this man begins as he tries to learn more about the world he is currently in and find his way back to his world. Well, some may ask me, what is interesting about a novel like this? Well, to be honest, my answer to your question is very easy. Of course, I will answer you with everything. First, some of the stories may choose their name for superficial reasons or without any reason in the first place. In most cases, the name is empty and devoid of any logical basis for its use. But here, in the story, its name really revealed the truth of its whole nature. The mystery factor in the novel of Lord of the Mysteries was one of the most important factors to enjoy the whole story. Usually in novels, and this is well from my personal experience, trying to create the feeling of a real horror and mysterious story is very difficult. Especially when including it in a genius way, to the point that connecting the different dots in the story proves to be easy and difficult at the same time. Like, generally speaking, there's a set of answers in front of you, but when you list them in a certain way, the reader can overlook different kinds of important matters due to the inclusion with a bunch of important information that serves a major role in the current events of the story. And by doing so, the reader will automatically focus on what's more important to the current events in the novel, completely forgetting about the bigger picture. Well, this is the main principle behind the whole mystery factor in Lord of the Mysteries. I don't really want to go deeper on this subject because I will have to spoil some events, so let's leave this matter for another video and let's talk about the horror factor. Few are the novels out there that can actually make you feel terrified like, well, cinematic scenes on the television. But Lord of the Mysteries was able to give that feeling 100%. Not through trivial methods such as some games that claim to be related to the horror genre, and when really analysing how their horror works, it's mostly just, haha, scary soundtracks with idiotic jump scares. A lot of TV shows do that too, for the record. But when talking about Lord of the Mysteries, like, the whole basis of how terrifying the different scenes were didn't stem from the tension of the current predicament, but rather from how the world was built. The story from the first chapter to the last has been emphasizing over and over again that the whole world was a terrifying and horrific place, to the point that no matter how much one's own military power was, one misstep would cause him to die in the most bizarre and unknown way possible. This one factor helped in building the horror aspect inside each reader's heart, and such feelings were really important in horror novels, and so Lord of the Mysteries did that in, well, the best way possible. Before talking about the best part or, well, factor in the whole novel, let me remind you all that the world building of the whole story is really reliant on the reader's understanding of the current events. So if you didn't comprehend a lot of stuff, I would really advise you to go back and reread the parts you didn't understand to have a much more solid foundation on how the story was built. Now let's talk about the number one selling point of this novel, and that is the drama. While it is true that everything in this novel is just superb, when looking at the emotional side of the story, I can't help but say that whatever else in the story is really nothing compared to the way it conveys different types of emotions to the reader. For me, I would probably say that the reason the emotional factor is really heavy on the reader comes from how miserable and depressing the whole world really is. There's a saying in the novel that can explain at least part of the suffering that the people in that world go through. We are guardians, but also a bunch of miserable wretches that are constantly fighting against threats and madness. I really can't stop praising the level of drama in Lord of the Mysteries novel. The one thing that I really enjoy are novels that build their own drama by using that accumulation of different emotions in the reader. Then the author, out of nowhere, uses all of that in one chapter to show you one of the best scenes that you will ever read. Oh, another thing I should really mention, and it's something I don't think many people would notice, but I noticed it because a major scene was spoiled because of some dumbass. But well, although it was spoiled, when I reached that scene I was 100% affected by it. And this is evidence of the quality of writing and effect of the accumulation of emotions in the reader. And now we have come to the second last thing I will talk about in this video, and I think everyone was waiting for me to talk about it, and that is the power system. The power system in Lord of the Mysteries, to say the least, is that it is complex beyond belief. But it is, well, interesting too, and gives a unique vibe to the novel. Unlike other novels that have, well, one path to reach the, oh whoa, greatest power in the whole universe, in Lord of the Mysteries there are 22 different paths. Each path is divided into 9 levels or 9 sequences, which starts from the 9th sequence and descends down to the 1st sequence and so on. Each path has its own skills and different uses. For example, we have the path of the Marauder. This path is made with different abilities that are acquired by the person gradually when he progresses through the sequence with the sole goal to steal. Another example is the Death sequence, which revolves around abilities that are related to death and harvesting souls, etc. I won't really start explaining how the power system works, since holy, that will need a full-fledged not less than 20 minutes video, cause it is highly complex, like really complex. So yeah, pretty much each path sequence shows different sides of different characters, which really makes the whole character development to each individual something to look forward to, since it is unique to each person. The most thing that I really loved throughout the whole story was the scheming and plotting that comes with every character. Now look here, raw power means nothing in this novel, and I mean it. But when you're just a beginner, well, yes, raw power might be something to be wary of, but then when slowly improving and going from one sequence to another, then the sole thing that each battle is reliant on is how intelligent, clever and witty the character can be. As each person gets more powerful, the madness that occupies their body gets stronger, to which would affect their mentality. Sometimes the effects might be mild, causing whoever's fighting to be somewhat rash in his decisions. But then, if we were to look at the severe effects, they mostly include going insane and acting based on your instincts. And doing so would really prove fatal in those types of fights. Now, to the last thing I will talk about, and that is, what are the negative parts about this novel? Now, many would wonder what would actually be considered a negative aspect in a full-fledged masterpiece, such as Lord of the Mysteries. But I do have one thing that I guess can be considered a negative aspect to new readers, and that is how slow the start is, and the amount of info that the story literally throws at the reader from the beginning of the story, which would really cause a lot of confusion to, well, each reader. I mean, I kinda get that since that did happen to me, but I can't really blame the author on that one since, well, the story needs a real deep foundation with sufficient world building from the first chapter to get a better understanding to many different aspects in it. And I think that concludes this video for now. I hope you liked this review, and if you did, you can consider subscribing to my channel and giving this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all as soon as possible. Bye bye.